used by westernized academics across the world, especially coming from Sri Lanka, to see these people in real form. Tony was on the critical side and questioned those studies from spatial, historical, and cultural standpoints. He was a great scholar and thinker of space. He not only wrote about colonial third cultures, hence third spaces, long before Ed Sojo, and he continued to work on these third spaces which were not so obvious to Lefebvre, and in more concrete ways than Houellebecq. He worked on globalization of the house form before globalization theories, and he explained the historical roots of a global city, which is London. I was fortunate to be guided by him. I was interested in understanding post-colonial urbanism from an indigenous vantage point. He did not hesitate to encourage me. I was able to build on the strong foundation I laid at Binghamton, and Tony has been an amazing teacher, mentor, friend, and a human being. He opened up a whole new world for me. We also had our fun moments. One day I was very critical of a particular publication and said, like, this is all good, looking at negotiation of space, but this is still elite. I want to kind of like delve into ordinary people, the beat of the society. He said, Nihal, you'll be retired before people recognize what you're doing. and I have to hurry up, and I'm working on a book called People Spaces. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about Charana, and it's in the making. So please, I welcome your comments. Okay. Before the British criminalized them, the Charas were mobile people, not fixed to a location. The Charas are believed to be descendants of Sansis. According to scholars, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the most powerful Indian ruler just before the British Raj, was a Sansi. After his expulsion, the community became dispersed and mobile. From the act of notifying the mobile people as criminal tribes by the British colonial state transformed the whole world for these people. Under the act, select communities in India were defined as habitually criminal, born criminals, and restrictions were imposed on their movement. Adult male members were forced to report weekly, and they were subjected to surveillance and could be arrested without warrant if they were found outside the area, confined area. The Charas were settled. The Charas were settled in an open prison outside of Ahmedabad. The British got them to work in the textile industry for very little wages, adopting penal rehabilitation through labor and prayer. Some of them resorted to theft. Generalizing and stereotyping such acts, the British constructed criminals out of these mobile people. The denotification has only changed the terms of notification. The act was repealed in 1949. The criminal tribes were denotified 3 more years later in 1952. Until then, the Charas were forgotten people. This is even after independence in India. They were in a camp for 5 years after independence. Moreover, the Indian government replaced the act with the Habitual Offenders Act of 1952. So they are usually called the ex-criminals, but they're still criminals, Even after their release, the Charas continued to be culturally and territorially confined. On the one hand, the Charas did not know any other place to go. On the other hand, the surrounding communities would not allow them in their neighborhoods. So-called ordinary citizens in Ahmedabad believe the Charas are thieves and makers and dealers of illegal alcohol and are subject to heavy scrutiny and prejudice. My Capisha students who did a project in 2011 were constantly reminded by ordinary people that they were working with criminals. My students visited a tribal school. It's called the Adivasi College. That was Adivasi Pite, which was founded by Gandhi. They gave us a kind of a whole spiel about all these different kind of tribal people, which is also British definition, but they didn't talk about Charles. The only story that they had to share was kind of like his friend was stolen. I mean, there was something stolen of his friend by the Charles. The Charles have been deprived of many freedoms, including education, job attainment, and the ability to perform basic functions within mainstream society. It is very difficult for Chara children to get admitted to good school. In Rizal, Charanagar is located adjacent to the former camp. Although the past may already be written, the Charas are constantly working to reclaim their own fate. I just want to look at this from the Chara side, not the government side, although I'm spelling this side. There is relentless building activity, and the people strive to achieve their dream homes within the extent constraints. The livelihood of many Chara families depend on their traditional liquor industry. Alcohol forms a part of Chara culture. Occasions such as weddings involve alcohol-based rituals. For example, the fathers of the couple exchange drinks and offer alcohol to the Mother Earth. Distilling alcohol is a part of their heritage. Even some people with respectable jobs like advocates are engaged in this industry. As Gujarat is a dry state, this practice has placed the Charas at odds with the state. In this Gandhian state, nobody wants to talk about alcohol because, well, that's something that shouldn't be touched. So automatically Charas become criminals even if they don't think that's illegal. However, it is not alcohol distilling that is new, but the state. Charanagar was a part of Maharashtra where alcohol consumption is still legal. The creation of Gujarat state has once again displaced the Charas in their own homes. The Charas are trying to be self-sufficient, at the same time they strive to be a part of the mainstream society. The main avenues are education and theatre. There are many, but I'm going to focus on these two. Those who take the education path seem to obtain the highest possible qualification. Currently there are more than 50 advocates in Charanagar, yet they do not receive adequate court cases because they are lower in the hierarchy, and nobody in higher in the hierarchy wants to give any jobs to them. The killing of Budhan Sab, a tribal of West Bengal, by police in 1998 became a major turning point for this community. The police brutality made many people step into politics, some becoming champions of the tribal's cause. Mahashweta Devi took a leading role and got a fair trial and a verdict. She was joined by Ganesh Devi of Gujarat, who eventually left his professorship to create the Adivasi Tribal Academy. The visit of Devis to Charanagar lifted the spirits of younger people. Dakshin Bajrange and Raksi Gagdekar established Budhan Theatre. They first produced a play on Budhan's death in the police. The drama both responded to the atrocities and connected the community to their cultural heritage. It was a creative use of traditions of acting and singing from the mobile days when they were moving from place to place. They used to act and sing and so on. Beginning with Adivasi Academy, they were invited to perform in a number of places, and the group became known as the Budhan Theatre. The main force behind today's change in Charanagar is the Budhan Theatre. On the one hand, the plays continue to question Chara stereotypes of the outside world and spread the word of equity, better treatment and humanity. On the other hand, it tries to change the face of Chara community from within. It is a community organization. In addition to producing plays, it has established a library and a community center where they educate Chara children. Theatre is used as a weapon of the weak, not only to fight but to construct their own identity. It combines documentary realism with complex techniques of artistic composition to record and demystify criminal situations in order to change. They act like thieves to defeat the idea that they are thieves. It's amazing. Henry Schwartz according to Henry Schwartz, the aesthetics of survival provides many levels of instruction. Practical detailed information on the historical construction of criminality in colonial India, its continuance under the post-colonial state, how to make a thief, how to construct that authority, and how to raise awareness, build a movement, and roll back 150 years of nightmarish history. They turn the label into performance, staging their own victimization as a mechanism to undo, both exposing the unjust social order and the law as unjust social order and the law as fantasy and spectacle. Going to physical space, in short, Charas have involuntarily accepted the territory that was given and made it their own. They have established a community and try hard to advance their people and improve their reputation. The library is therefore a community center. The other major space in the square is the main square, developed around the base of a collapsed water tower, used as their main stage and performance area. This is also the place of wedding ceremonies and the like. The square is always active, colorful and cheerful. Charanagar began with rows of one-room huts built by the authorities. Most of these have been transformed into elaborate multi-family houses. The cycle of creative destruction still continues. An interior space of a house, for example, was improved in modern style for younger male member and his future wife. This does not mean that Charanagar is the dream community. It should not be romanticized. The neighborhood with dense collection of houses function around two main streets. One is a thoroughfare that connects the neighborhood to the local market. The other, which connects to the choke, is more like an alleyway with a sense of place. The two main nodes, the library and the main square that I discussed, are located on these streets respectively. There are distilleries spread across the neighborhood, complemented by a couple of bars, illegal, because it's not legal in Gujarat, on the western side, and these are frequented by the outsiders. Because actually it's interesting, in a dry state, Gujaratis people, they want to drink alcohol, so they come to Charanagar. The rest of the neighborhood is organized around a series of open spaces spread out across it. The Bhutan Theatre performs in this and children play in it. Locally, the Charas have developed their own position. The nationally acclaimed local artist activist Mallika Sarabha helps them to develop their theatre. The internationally acclaimed Indian Institute of Management, IIM, frequently invites Bhutan Theatre to do theatre workshops for IIM students. Select faculty at IIM support Chara courses. The current generation has found a couple of colleges in the city that would accept them. In 2011, 15 girls and 48 boys attended college. So they have created their own locality. In regard to culture, the Charas have their own culture. The principal festival held in the main square is Holi, the color festival. It is much more significant than Diwali or National Day celebrations. The significance attributed to this festival, this is a secular festival, signifies that the Charas are somewhat different from mainstream Hindus. On Holi, they light a large fire in the square, and each head of the household takes a small flame to his or her house. These also have a community barbecue. They also have a community barbecue of beef seasoned before. Now Hindus don't eat beef, right? So even if they eat meat, celebrating Holi as the main festival and consuming beef indicates that they are not mainstream Hindus. So they have created their own brand of Hinduism in their own way. And their own culture. Their gods and temples also indicate the same. The temples are not devoted to mainstream Hindu gods, but to two main goddesses. These indicate that they were not Hindus in the past. They may have become Hindus, but in the process of assimilation, the process of assimilation is evidently incomplete. Nevertheless, they do worship Hindu gods, celebrate Hindu festivals, and claim to be Hindus. They are Hindus. The Charas have thus created their own space in the margins of mainstream Hinduism. Let's look at their nationality. The Charas have also created their own national space. The revival of the community is related to a national issue. The Bhutan incident and the theatre is well known across the nation and abroad. National activists such as the Devis support the Charas. The Charas live in India. They are not only Indian citizens, but are also Indian at heart. They support the cricket team, enjoy Bollywood, and engage in politics as most Indians do. A member of the community also contested in national elections. However, they have not made their issues national, or they don't have a separatist movement or anything like that. They are national. They ask for rights and try to improve their social standing within the nation. Hence, they have their own national space. In many ways, spaces of gender relations are similar to those in India. There is a distinct separation between what spaces could be considered male and female, and how and where the sexes interact. The streets and public spaces are the male domains, as in the case in India. Women are usually in the homes preparing meals and taking care of their young children. Yet women's public space is more dispersed, complex, and runs through domestic spaces. The public space penetrates into houses, in effect, making a large area of the house a semi-public area, where female friends are welcome to visit and socialize. The porch is where they gather and socialize. It is a nexus that connects their private and public worlds, and their interaction with the street is through these porches. Males are the breadwinners. If the woman has a job, for the most part it is distilling alcohol. While this indicates the unavailability of jobs for women outside and resistance from outside communities, this job has its own advantages. Age and lack of education does not matter. In some households, men were responsible for distilling and selling alcohol as well. Charanagar has also created its own globality. So the point I'm trying to argue is kind of like you can look at it from outside in or inside out. I'm looking at it from inside out. Charanagar is also a global village. It is well connected to the world. They have reworlded their neighborhood. Funds for the library comes from global organizations such as UNICEF, but mediated through the Adivasi Academy. The community is constantly visited by foreigners. Many researchers like Henry Schwartz and Karim Friedman have not only visited, but have written about it and distributed their videos, making them visible in the Western academy and in the outside world. Their theatrical roots are also varied. While based on Indian tradition of street theatre, the theatre is influenced by Brecht and other Western traditions. Both Bajrangi and Gagdeka have made representations to the United Nations. Actually, they have complained against the Indian government at the United Nations. So they have like a very interesting, tense relationship with the nation itself. On September 2011, Gagdeka visited the United Nations and made a complaint against the discriminations by the Indian government and society to the General Secretary of the Permanent Bureau for the Indigenous People. Okay, let me wrap this up. The Charas are, from a formal perspective, from an outside-in perspective, at the margins of their larger structures. They are neither Indian, global, developed, civilized, nor Hindu. Yet, they are all of these and more. They are hybrid of what we know, but also an emergence that we need new tools to understand. Charanagar is a translocality built with the help of local, national and global actors, but shaped by the Charas. At the same time, Charas have used gaps between these various scales, global and national, and room outside of these to reclaim their lives and fulfill their dreams. That is to create their own identity and globality. They have used their predicament to develop considerable political capital and social networks with the outside world and are connected to places across these scales. What they received, such as land, is necessary, but have familiarized the gifts from outside, as Abhidin and across in his first book. They first became subjects of Charanagar. Produced by the British and the national governments. Over time, they familiarized space, transforming abstract spaces created by foreigners and the state into lived spaces of their own. Thank you.